Okay, folks. Welcome. My name is Marv. HVO Marv, Unorthodox Logic with Marv, Marv's Raw Radio, M. Crittenden Enterprises, whatever you want to call it. Um, I'm basically going to show you guys how to start a podcast from start to finish. I use Spreaker. I highly recommend it for a few reasons. It's simple, it's affordable, it does a lot of the work for you. It's like a drag and drop theory when it comes to Spreaker. Some stuff you do have to get done, like these. As you can see right here, you would need to get your own, I guess, artwork you would call it for your podcast. Very easy to get done. A lot of times you guys can take a very high definition picture on your phone, put some words on it, and that typically can work as long as it's the right size. But I'm going to show you guys essentially the cheapest way to get started. Not cheap in a sense of low quality, but cheap as in a sense I understand that everybody doesn't have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to dump into a podcast, or sometimes not even hundreds and hundreds of dollars to dump into a podcast. This way can get you started for less than $100. And that's including you going and hiring someone to do your artwork, which we offer that service for as little as $50 is our starting point for simple artwork design. Again, you can go to mcrittendenenterprises.com, go to our services, and you can go to the logo services and send an inquiry, things of that nature, how you want your logo. Just give a description of how you want it. And then, of course, there's a deposit that's required, and boom, you can get the work started, and you'll be able to go ahead and get a logo or get a artwork. But it's going to be go to the logo services to do that. Anyway, make sure you like, subscribe, comment any questions, any tips for those of you that have a podcast out there. If you have any additional tips for other sites, definitely go ahead and go to those other sites. But I'm going to do Spreaker because that's what I use. I also use my website. That's a lot more complicated. So this video is for a free way of how to do it. If you want to go and do a podcast service with us where we set it up for you, that's a service we do offer. Again, mcrittendenenterprises.com. You'll be able to go ahead and do that. Again, the links and everything will be in the description below this video. You'll be able to go ahead and do that, and you'll be able to get your podcast started. So you have two ways. You can do it this way, follow my steps, or you can hire us. We'll do it for you. And that service will also include the artwork as well. So it's all about what you have, what you can finance, what you can afford, things of that nature. If you have multiple people, you guys can split it, that kind of thing. So if you hear my son in the background, he's playing video games, being loud. But no worries. We can get through. We're all working from home. So we all understand. Anyway, so go to Spreaker.com. As you can see, Spreaker.com. So first, let me start by showing you guys the type of podcasts that are already on this platform, because I don't want you to think it's just some cut rate platform. Business Bully Podcast, Horrible Decisions. I wish they won't show me like this. Sports Your Enthusiasm Podcast, Flipman's Real Estate. These are not small podcasts. I want y'all to fully understand that. I don't know why it's showing me like this. Who else is on here? I wanted to kind of give me an explore. Let me see if I go to listen. Catch My Killer, Why You Mads, 10 Number 10s. Here go these Prime shows. Here go True Crime, Her American Story. Like, if you ever heard of these podcasts, here go some staff picks. They Tried to Bury Us, History Unplugged, Attention Horrors, Dunked On in Basketball, like NBA podcasts. It's About Damn Crime. Like, these are not just some wildly small podcasts. You know what I mean? These are definitely some bigger podcasts if you're familiar with these podcasts. If you're not, look them up and you'll see. I don't want you guys to think I'm telling you a platform that isn't going to meet your needs. Again, they're not paying me for this shit, but I like to have my peace of mind, and it's easier if I just show y'all this myself. So, let's go ahead and get started. before you get signed up, before anything like that, because I'm already signed into my account, I want you to go right to plans and prices. So here's why I say you can get started for less than $100. Because you can go ahead and choose this plan right here, which is the on-air talent plan. It's for little as $7 a month if you want to get billed monthly, $6 a month if you want to get billed yearly. You can do the math, 6 times 12, boom, and you'll get your price for how much it is for the year. Still less than $100 if you guys can't do the math on that. So you guys can choose the on-air talent, $6 a month. If you get billed yearly, that's $72 a year. $7 a month if you get billed monthly. Again, this is why I'm telling you you can get started for less than $100 a year. But the problem with this one is it doesn't come with many statistics, if any. You can have a podcast, you can get it put out, but you won't know how many people are listening, things of that nature. Not in the sense of monetizing it through your own advertiser. So you can't like go to an advertiser and say, "Hey, I got X amount of subscribers in this city, in this state, or whatever the case may be. I want you to come on my advertisement. We charge X amount of dollars for pre-rolls or mid-rolls. We're going to go over pre-rolls and mid-rolls in this broadcast as well. So you can't go to them with that kind of information with this plan, but it will at least get you started. I mean, a lot of times if you're just starting out and you're just trying to get your feet wet, trying to see if people would even listen to you, this is a good plan to start off with, so you're not shelling out that much money up front. And then another thing is you can always upgrade to any plan. Like literally, you can start with this plan today. You put your first episode out, you see that you got 1,000 likes, 2,000 shares, you can immediately upgrade to this plan right here, which will give you that information that you need for basically it's called your geographics. You know what I mean? You get your you know who your demographic is, your geographics. Your demographics is both, because you'll know if it's men, women, you'll know where they are, that stuff like that. So that's another thing. Then you got the Anchorman. This is more so for those who want who has an entire podcast network, extremely big. Our guys over at BICP Network, if they I don't know what program they use in particular. So I'll have to ask Matt about that. But those guys have a lot of podcasts under their network, and this is honestly a something that I think they would be very beneficial on using. If anybody, I mean, again, if you have a big enough podcast, this is great to use as well, because it gives you additional statistics, things of that nature. Again, it says multiple podcast hosting, but all of them have multiple podcast hosting. The biggest thing with these is the amount of storage. One of our podcasts has over 100 episodes. Those episodes range from about an hour and a half to 2 hours long. That can get very, very big in regards to storage. That's just one podcast. And then we have a total of, again, I took two of them off this, and I got 3 left on here. So again, it's going to free up some space once I take the other ones off. It's pretty much going to only have 1 on here, but I'm going to need still this plan to do what I'm doing, because this also gives you a live feature as well. You can get up to 3 hours of live time. Let's actually go to the full features. You can go, they say podcasting, but again, it can be live internet radio as well, which Mars World Radio will be doing live internet radio. So as you can see with this one, you get 45 minutes per podcast, listener, chat box, external app integration. Essentially what we used to have to do when we first did the podcast, because we were on this plan, I didn't know how long the shows were going to be. We have to record for 45 minutes, stop, record for another 45 minutes. If we needed to again, stop again and record again. You don't want to do that. Now we do all our recording externally, so we don't even use the Spreaker app, but the Spreaker app is phenomenal. If you want to do the recording on the Spreaker app, it is phenomenal. The only issue I have with the Spreaker app is it didn't split up the mics. So if you have more than one person talking, in our particular case, we will have anywhere between 3 to 4 people talking at a time. It didn't have separate basically separate mics, to where when you're editing those people, one person may talk low like X, another person may talk loud like CJ, somebody like Layson talks on the lower side, somebody like me, I talk on the louder side. So for us, it works to have them all split up because I can fix each person's volume to where it doesn't sound overwhelming or overburdening within the podcast for the listeners. And you want a quality listen for the listeners because at the end of the day, I promise you, this is not something you can just give a crappy listening experience to. So if you're gonna have that many people, I suggest you go into a third-party app, something like if you have a MacBook, go into something like GarageBand, uh, go into something like Logic Pro. We use Logic Pro X. That also gives us the ability to put sounds on the keyboard, things of that nature. That's way advanced stuff. But again, this particular app also gives you that. But if you have two people where if you want to control the mixer, if you want to use an external mixer and control it through the external mixer, you can do that. You can definitely do that and do it right through the Spreaker app that they have. It's a desktop app they have or whatever, and it brings up everything digitally. You can have sounds in there. So if you want to do it externally through that, you can also do that as well. I'm not comfortable doing it that way. I like to do things in edit because it's stuff that we had to cut out completely. And if we did it with all one audio file, it would have cut everyone's mic off instead of one person's mic off. At the point we needed to cut it for. So again, that's way more advanced stuff. At the end of the day, this is essentially the beginner's step. So as far as distribution, everyone gets the distribution. Now it says advanced distribution then full distribution. You can manually take the RSS feed and submit it to Spotify, submit it to Google Play, submit it to Apple, things of that nature, or they'll just do it for you. As far as the advanced distribution, honestly, I don't know what exactly this advanced and full distribution they're talking about because when we were on this plan, I was able to get us in every major podcast platform, so it was never an issue. So now here's the statistics that I was talking about. This is extremely important for podcasting, especially if you plan to make money. Basic statistics. You can go to someone and say, "Hey, I have downloads. I have daily listeners." They're like, "Hey, okay, where are these listeners at? How old are these listeners?" You cannot find that information with this. Advanced statistics. You can get download, daily listeners, listening source. So what kind of device are they listening to? Listeners' geolocation. Where are they? That is vital for monetizing a podcast. Episode likes, followers trend. Here's another one. Downloads, daily listeners, listener source, listeners geolocation, episode likes, follower trends, audience demographics, devices. That's also good. You'd like to know if people listen on their phones, computers, things of that nature. Honestly, you can just assume that most people are listening from their phone. There are people who do listen to podcasts in other ways, but 90% of the podcast world listens from their phones. I can promise you that. And then also episode evolution. Now, I will say this. I have no affiliation. I probably should have said this in the beginning. I have no affiliation whatsoever with Spreaker. Spreaker and I have no affiliation. They did not hire me. They did not pay me to do this. I'm doing this for my own peace of mind. I'm doing this because I want people to essentially stop coming to me trying to give them a breakdown on how to do a podcast, and then I never see that podcast happen. Trust me, it has been about 10 to 12 people recently. This is I would say within the last 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, who came to me asking me how to do a podcast, and they have yet to put anything together. And then over the years, it's been countless people who came to me asking me about it. Hey, how do you do podcasts? And again, it's nothing but smoke and mirrors. So again, here's the distributors: Apple, Spotify, that's Google Play if I'm not mistaken. Stitcher is great. iHeartRadio is great. It's good to get honestly, get it on as much stuff as possible, so that way you can make sure you get on as many platforms as possible, because you never know what somebody listens to podcasts on. They may have a podcast that has an exclusive subscription, like the Joe Budden podcast has an exclusive deal with Spotify. So does Joe Rogan. So some people may not want to be navigating 3 or 4 different apps to listen to their podcast. So you go until you're at a level where you have an exclusive deal, you go where the people are. People don't come to you. You go to them with your podcast, because everyone's starting a podcast these days. And again, like I said, storage hours, that's vital. 100 hours for that, 500 for that, 1,500 hours for that. They all have unlimited listeners. I'll have multiple podcasts. Episode scheduling is perfect as well because a lot of times I upload our podcast on Sundays to be released Monday. So make sure you listen to the Trap Nerd podcast. Unorthodox Logic with Marv comes out on Thursdays as well. And then Mars World Radio will be coming out soon. I haven't given a date for that. They have ad revenue sharing, but that's the ads that they do. You get pennies on the dollars for that. I don't recommend you doing that using their ads because if you're big enough to use ads, you might as well go get your own ads. Have them pay you yourself instead of going through this company. Have them pay you yourself, and you keep all the money rather than them making all the money and giving you crumbs. Because that's essentially what the hell it is, to be honest. All right, so and then there's an enterprise where this is a whole nother ball game. Again, this is something way way different. But you get, I think you get paid for this too, or something like that. It's something way different. Gives you a lot of professional features. I say don't go into this. If you want to read into it once you get to that point, or if you're just curious, just go ahead and read into it. But stick to one of these, the on-air talent, the broadcaster, the anchorman for now. Get your podcast game up. You'll be good. All right. Now, let's get started. So once you sign up, you make your payment, you're going to get here to the dashboard. This is where you create your podcast. As you can see, Trap Nerd Podcast, Mars World Radio, Trap Nerd Sports. That's going to be coming back soon. Our guy is going to be getting that popping. Make sure you check that out. Okay, so we're going to start a new podcast. I'm going to use the same like stuff here. I'm just going to change a little name. So yours is going to be blank. Then you go, hey, let me create a new podcast. Boom. You name your podcast brand new potty. No, that sounds like a pot. Brand new pod. Let's call it pod. Your language, whatever language you speak, pick that. Category, what category is your podcast? If it's in the arts, is it in book arts, design, fashion, beauty, food, performance arts, visual arts, business? You have a bunch of these. Comedy, you can actually do improv, stand-up comedies, comedy interviews. Like if you have a stand-up routine, you can upload that stand-up routine if it's recorded and put it into a podcast form. People can go listen to the stand-up routine in there. It's a good idea for you comedians. Education, if you're into how-tos, which I should probably do, take this and make it an audio how-to. Self-improvement, things of that nature. You can do that. You can do a scripted series where you can do like comedy fiction, drama, science fiction. If you're into the sound design, if you're big on sound design, that's where you'll stick into that. I'm not going to go into all these categories, but find your category. I know sports is a big one. Find your category, lock yourself in. I know some of you are asking, what if I have multiple categories? Then what you do is, say if, hey, you into sports, but you talk about basketball, baseball, cricket, then you just pick the overall general sports. I'm just going to put this one under, like I said, I'm going to do how-to, education. All right, so how-to under education. Now, you see how this says, we recommend uploading podcast artwork at least 1400 by 1400 pixels in size. If you go to any designer, they will know exactly what that is. This artwork is already 1400 by 1400. I just redid it, but let me give you an example of what they mean by that. This is GIMP. GIMP is a free software. You can literally download it on Mac or Windows. You just go in here and then image size 1400 by 1400 px. Hit OK, and then you can literally do this. Again, you can do this from your phone too. But I'm just do this real quick because I think it's important to show you every step to show you how easy it is. Again, GIMP is free. So again, I'm trying to teach you how to do this for less than $100. And then just do something legible. Let me see. Hey, let me do that. Just gonna pick the first one that looks legible. Boom. All right, brand new pod. Just want to center this because it's gonna drive me nuts if I don't. Look at this. All right, sometimes it does that. Again, it's a free program. You gotta make sure you click it the right way. I always freak up. I said freak up. And we're gonna go ahead and stretch these out. Yeah. All right, we center it now. All right, brand new pod. Boom, there you go. Let's go ahead and save that. Then you're going to go ahead and export as BNP. You can do it as a PNG, JPEG file, however, it doesn't matter. I recommend doing either a PNG or a JPEG. I shouldn't say it doesn't matter because y'all go put some other shit and then it don't work. And you're like, oh, you told me I could put whatever. Alright, so what the hell happened? Oh, wrong browser. Sorry. Alright. So, KBMP, boom, that's 1400 by 1400. You see no reds, nothing like that. Boom, your cover image. We recommend uploading a cover image 982 by 275. Do the same thing again. I'm not going to do it. I showed you how to do it. You just put in, all right, actually, I didn't really get you all the details on that. Where's mine? All right, so then you, let's say you go new, and what they said is it was, I gotta stop doing this. 982, 275. So go 982 by 275. Boom. That's why they want you to do it that way. I'm just go BNPB. I don't know why they do that by default. Stupid calling angels personal use. I get my fonts from DaFont, so if you're looking for a fancy font, go to dafont.com. I'm not endorsed by them either, but I like to give people a free game because I got it for free. You hear me? All right, so BNP, boom, brand new pod. If you have a podcast network, name it that. I don't give a damn. Just do something. BNP, boom. Yeah. All right, export. Yes, I have a marijuana silhouette. I was doing a logo for somebody else. I'll show y'all that when they're ready to show you it. Or you'll see it on my website eventually when they release it, because I'm putting all my artwork on there. It's not my job to say, hey, I don't stomp no moral high ground. There it is again. Look, marijuana silhouette. Boom. There it is. Nice and centered. All right, public description. You write in what your podcast is about. This is a brand new pod. And you go to create. All right? Why? Image height is too small. What do you mean it's too small? It's 1400 by 1400. Okay. I don't care. Let me hear. I know this is 1400 by 1400, so do that. 1400 by 1400. Boom. Now let's go. This is a brand new pod. Create. All right. So now you created something. So whenever you want to go, because I want to take y'all back to where we. Oh no, we don't want to do that. So when you get back to here, dashboard. Whenever you log in, it's going to take you back to the dashboard. So then whenever you want to upload a podcast, you go here. All right, I just created my podcast. I want to upload an episode. Let me go to view and edit. Boom. Take you here, upload an episode. I want to show y'all that step because it just automatically took me here. Had I not shown y'all that step, some of y'all are like, yo, well, how do I upload an episode once I log out or some crazy stuff? I hear the crazy things all the time. So either way. So then you upload an episode, MP3 form, you get your audio file, wherever it is, blah, blah, blah. I'll just use this for a second. It'll show like that. So whatever you name the MP3 file is going to show that way as well. You go in here, you can edit it. As soon as it loads, you can put episode 1, and then you can put a name, brand new potty. There's your permalink. You can actually change that. It's automatic. So that way, whatever you upload the file is going to automatically get that permalink. In the podcast, again, who's the illustrator, it's going to go to that. You can say if you click the wrong one and you need to just swap it out, you can hit the drop down and do that if you have more than one podcast. There's a direct download link as well if you want to let people do that. Then you put the description of the current podcast. You do not put the description of something else. Put a description of the current podcast. Also, a nifty part about this is you can put a different image on every episode. So you can make a specialized image for every episode. So if you go look at like the Trap Nerd podcast, you'll see some of our episodes have images to them. You can go to Joe Budden podcast, you'll see his episodes have images to them, things of that nature. You could put tags in. If you got cussing in it, put that here. Always check this. Always check this. Always, 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 always check this. I cannot say this enough. Always check this. You don't want to make anything harder on your listeners. Your listeners want to be able to download their podcasts on their Apple Podcasts, listen to them at their own pace. Or they like, look, I don't want to run my data up. I'll go ahead and download it. It still counts as a listen for you. And once I'm done, I delete it. It goes that way. It still counts for you. And then I'm going to get to how you can configure your Facebook page, YouTube, Twitter, SoundCloud. If you want to do that, you can. Tumblr is a dying platform as well. I don't even recommend even worrying about those two. But again, if you want the biggest reach as possible, you just put it on everything you want. That's up to you. All right. So then you go add options and leave the page. Don't matter. This is where you can put pre-rolls and mid-roll ads if it's going to show it. Might have to go to a different podcast. Let's check. Okay, it's not showing me that. All right, whatever. Look at this. Okay, it's giving me limited options. Okay, so once you issue the podcast, I'm going to go into something else. Then let's go to Mars World Radio since that's a new one that's about to come anyway. All right, so once you get all into this, hurry up and load up here. Go into basic info. You want to fill out each page. Each page must be filled out. So this is the first info you filled out here. Boom. You can add an email to your podcast. This will be displayed on your podcast page. It will be added to your podcast RSS feed. So if people want to get in contact with you, they can do that. This email is used for when artists want to send me music for the radio show. They can do that. That's why I have no issue with sharing that email. Distribution. So this is the page you want to get to. Once you get episode uploaded, a lot of times you need 5 episodes for some of these. You need 1 episode for most of these. In other cases, you need 5. So as you can see, distributed, you can submit. Spreaker, it's automatically done there. This is Spreaker. Spotify, submit. iHeartRadio, you can go ahead and submit. They do 5 episodes. I'm not for sure. The rest of these, I believe, is 1. Amazon Music / Audible now has a podcasting app. So actually, I'm going to submit my other podcast to this. I'm not submitting this particular podcast to any of these services because I'm going to be playing independent music, and I don't want to get jammed up with music and stuff like that, especially if these guys don't have clearance for the records, stuff like that. So I'm not going to be putting on all these kind of platforms. My main source is going to be to people to come to me and listen to me on whatever live stream that I have and go from there. So Podchaser, Pod Addict, you want it on everything you could possibly get it on. Now you got your podcast page settings. So this is what people see when they come to your podcast page on Spreaker. You want to give them a telephone number. This is a public number. I don't have to worry about hiding that. Don't worry. That is a number that you can text or call once it's open. A lot of times it's off until I'm ready to run my radio show. There's a website link. If you have a website for your podcast, put it up there. If you have an iTunes, Skype name, whatever, put it all in there. Again, that's my cover image as well. Auto sharing options. So what this means is whenever you are ready to share your podcast, when you schedule it to go live at like whatever day, you can literally have it auto share to a certain Facebook page, a certain Twitter, things of that nature. YouTube, you can have it uploaded to YouTube, and even Spreaker, I make a nice little graph for you with your image in there for YouTube. I recommend you go and edit that and change it to the cover art of your own, because people like cover art for YouTube. Now here is your RSS customization. So this is how it would appear on different platforms. This is very, very important. For you beginners, if you're not comfortable with kind of tweaking this, I suggest you just let them leave it as is, and they'll just fill it out for you. This is specifically for Apple Podcasts and for Google Play have these specifications. As long as you filled out everything the way I told you to fill it out, you'll see that everything is already filled out. So I left this as automatic for this particular show because I didn't need to change anything. So I already wrote out this description. I had that email. The author for all my podcasts is M. Crittenden Enterprises. So as you can see, I wrote that out. So it has a subtitle and a summary. Doesn't matter. Um, English, music, all of that. There's the show site. So if people want to just go into the show, they can do that. I can change that if I want to mine. But until I figure out my website embedding, I won't do that. I'll let people just come here for now, and we'll get that figured out before we launch. You can sort episodes into seasons. For those of you that are into true crimes, or those of you that are into scripted, you can actually separate these into seasons. You can go serial, oldest to newest, episodic, newest to oldest. You can have it to where, hey, I want people when they hit this page they have to listen from episode 1 and go work their way up, and then go from there. Stuff like that. All right. Then you go into ad options. Again, I know the last one didn't really show it the way it was supposed to, but this is how it would work. This is how it looked. But you got to have episodes uploaded for you to have this kind of detail. So once you get uploaded, you can do pre-rolls. Pre-rolls are before your podcast start. Post-rolls are after your podcast ends. Mid-rolls are in the middle of your podcast. And if you do mid-rolls, they let you pick which part of the mid-roll you want to do it in. It looks like they... as you can see, you got to switch to certain ads and things of that nature. Again, I don't recommend you guys doing this. If you need ads, just wait until you get to that point. You can do a customized intro where, hey, I want a certain intro to play before all my podcasts. That makes sense to some people. It makes extreme amount of sense to some people. The Trap Nerd podcast opens up with a different song. It makes no sense for us to have a podcast intro. Maybe for Unorthodox Logic with Marv, that would make sense. But again, that's done on my website, so I wouldn't have the features like this. I would have to do everything manually. For some of you, like for Mars World Radio, it's going to make sense to have an intro. But again, I don't know how that's going to work on a live thing, so I have to figure that out as well. If you bring it over in a podcast, you can insert episodes by just copying your RSS link, and it'll let you do that. Damn it. Let's go back here. And then you can also delete the podcast. So let me go here, and I'm going to delete this podcast. So it says I need to delete the episodes first. So now that it's uploaded, now you'll see the options we got. Distribution, you can add all that kind of stuff. Podcast page per setting, you can add all that stuff in there. All that stuff I just showed y'all, now you can see it for sure. Now that I went ahead and got that taken care of, but same difference. All right, so let me get rid of this. Delete that podcast. Oh, let's go to statistics. You can go to statistics, see downloads. No shame in what we got here. 7,000 downloads. But like I was saying, so you can see the likes, which again, the likes come from what's his name? The damn this from Spreaker. We don't use Spreaker. We don't even promote it at all. Actually, you'll see where our listeners are. You get this kind of information. We got 83% of our listeners in the United States. We even get the state that they're in, the city that they're in. So most of our listeners are coming from Washington in the United States. We got some people in our hometown, but most of our listeners are coming from Washington. And then we have 23% other. You can get demographics if you want to upgrade this. This will tell you men, women, things of that nature. I really don't care about all that. Then you got this LARF, whatever the hell that is. That's telling you about a bunch of people where they listening from. Spotify is a big one. Apple Podcasts is another one. Just all about where you promote your podcast at as far as listening to. So that's always good. Devices, again, you can upgrade that plan for that. Followers, if that matters to you on this platform, is where you'll get it at. It does not tell you the platforms like Apple and things of that nature. It just doesn't do that. Because Apple probably won't share that information with them. So you can get that information there. Monetizations, you can do that as well. I can't go through all that. Look at that. I got $7.85. Woohoo! You gotta get a minimum of $10. That's why I told y'all it's pennies on dollars. I used to actually do it on one of my other podcasts. It is useless. It did not fit the content of that podcast. So I stopped doing it. And then here you can go to settings. This is for the landing page, your public URL. As you can see, it says Mars World Radio because that's what it started out as, and then we upgraded to a network. I put a phony little birthday there. You can see all this. Everything's lead to MCredited Enterprises now. You can change the password, change the email, connected accounts. You can connect it to all of this. Disconnected. Here's where you would connect your Twitter, YouTube, things of that nature. As you can see, I do not connect it to any of these other ones because it is useless to me. But if it may be useful to you, I suggest you do it. If it's not, then don't do it. It's that simple. I'm actually going to disconnect this from this one and reconnect it to something else. But I'll do that on another day without you guys watching. Anyway, man, yeah, that's how you do it. Once you upload your episode, you can get rolling and you keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. You can record an episode. You get your statistics for a particular show, things of that nature. You can get it embedded. You can preview. You can get your RSS link. If you want that, copy it. Boom. You can go submit it manually to any other things that they don't do for you. Because I know they have a lot of sharing options for you, but sometimes they just don't have what you need. So you can do it yourself. All right. So go ahead and delete that. You guys, again, comment, leave questions, drop things below. I would love to hear from you guys. Like, subscribe, share. Let me know if this was useful to you or if it was absolutely garbage and you hate that I even made it and you wish I would go burn in the fiery pits of hell. Go ahead and leave that comment too. Whichever works for you, man. Make sure you give it a thumbs up as well. I appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you guys watching. Peace. Hey, what's up, guys? I forgot to put this into the actual video on how to set it up, so I wanted to go ahead and add this to the end. I didn't include equipment. Equipment, you want to go, I like Guitar Center, to be honest with you guys. You can go to Guitar Center. You can go to your local one, or you can go to one online. Go to Amazon, actually, as well. That's another one. You can get some mics. You need a condenser mic. You don't need anything too expensive. Honestly, this mic right here will do $39. However many people you got, that's how many mics you need, of course. Some people like to get pop filters for their mics. You can do that, or you could just put the pop filter on top of the mic. I'll be honest with you, a lot of the times with Trap Nerd Podcast, if you go look up the podcast, listen to the quality of the actual podcast, we use condenser mics similar to this. They are on, you can use that. Whatever you can afford is to get yourself in the door. So you get yourself a condenser mic, and then you also need an interface. I'm not going to go too much into the mics, but it's about where your budget is. That's important. So again, these are not included in the price. So when I said under $100, it does not include equipment. It just means you can literally go and get started with a podcast as long as you have the proper equipment for under $100. And then here is interfaces. So depending on how many people you got, if you plan to bring guests, things of that nature, that's all something you'll need to look into. And again, it's all about your budget. It's all about your budget, all about your budget, all about your budget. So I know you see in these interfaces, some of them like $3-4 grand. We do not use an expensive interface. Actually, we use a Steinberg, or is it? I think we use a Steinberg. Let me just check. I think it's called a Steinberg. It's X's interface. We use something like this. Steinberg UR44 USB interface, $329. 4 mics, it gives us what we need. Again, if it's just 2 of you though, actually if it's 2 of you, I recommend you using something like this, $164. And then there's what is it called? It's a studio one that I got for graduation, which is pretty good as well. Look, here you go right here. Here you go, a mini recording pack. So, you kind of got to just go off your budget. Again, Amazon has options as well. So let me just show y'all real quick. Amazon has options. So let's look up mics. So again, I know some people like to use Amazon. I don't know why I put 2 S's on the mics, but whatever. So again, you can get mics. Look at that, $42 for that mic right there, USB. USB is for, again, if you're just on your, if you're flying solo, that could work. I recommend using condenser mics. Condenser mic are the ones that plug in, like, I'm gonna show you like that. See, look at that USB streaming podcast PC microphone. See, they're even advertising these for these type of things because, again, you don't need a super expensive mic. I don't want you guys going out and getting $1,000 mic and then you don't know how to edit at all. So then you sitting here looking like, why am I not getting my best bang out of my buck? Like, eventually, of course, you want a better mic, but trust me, I'm gonna see if I can just go to condenser in here. Again, this was not included in the original one. I added this on as an add-on because I knew people would probably ask about equipment. I was gonna put it in the description, but I figured I'd just do it in video form. So a lot of these are showing as a lot of USB mics. Again, I don't know why it's showing just USB mics. You want condenser microphones like that. There it is right here. This is a condenser. An XLR condenser microphone is what they're called, XLR cords. So there's the XLR cord. This is a condenser microphone. If this comes with this whole setup, I recommend you getting this whole setup, to be honest with you. Let's see. Yeah, it does. It comes with all of this. So this would be great for podcasting. $69, free shipping. That's a great one. And then let's go ahead and look up some audio interface. I don't even know these brands. Again, I'm not. See, this is crazy. I'm not sponsored by any of these people or anything like that. I don't know why my Amazon is acting like this, but I'll just do this. Make this simple. Okay. I don't know what that was about, but whatever. Now let's look up audio interfaces as well. Look at that, 150. There it is right here. Boom. Behringer, that's the one we use. 178. I don't know why I thought it was a Steinberg. I got a two port. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, this is the one we use right here. $178. It's the one we use. Plugged in 4 mics, give you 4 separate channels, gives you everything you need. If you want separate channels, you got to use interfaces, not mixers. Interfaces, not mixers. Remember that. But I just wanted to add this on towards at the end of the video because I know people would ask me about equipment. The video that I post, the video is not about the equipment. It's about just getting a podcast up and running. The equipment is separate when it comes to that $100 price. All right.